product provided by Nintendo. The Splatoon franchise has since its debut in 2015 in less than a decade become a bestseller for Nintendo. Which started as a footnote, or more precisely the highlight of the Wii U, now results in a second game for the successor of that system. Marian creatures battling out by splatting ink. You'll fight for turf, supremacy, and in the case of story mode, destroying the Octarians. This has literally been the case for all the previous games, and this one doesn't fall off that far from the same tree. So the big question is here then, what makes Splatoon 3, well, Splatoon 3? The game's systems have gone through a series of changes, mostly for the better, though there are points to be made across the board. At this point, you know what to expect from Splatoon. You play as either an Inkling or an Octoling, pick up your weapon of choice and play in a variety of modes. But what is different this time is the location of the adventure. No longer in Copolis, but Splatsville, which is located in a completely different part of the map. Yes, we have one now for the franchise, which has far bigger Asian influences across the board. The square is big, but everyone is living very cramped. There is enough to do, but it feels very much wider, and we found ourselves using the menus a bit more often than we would have liked. It is still a lot of fun to explore, but you want to get to the meat and potatoes. We mean, they allow us to literally skip the openings, so that is a big plus. In that sense, you should be fairly happy with those meat and potatoes. If you loved Splatoon before, you will certainly enjoy it now. The vast majority of the weapons are back, mostly with souped up special attacks. There are more maps from the get-go than ever before, with 12 available on launch day. And to remind you, at launch in Splatoon 2 we had 8, while we had 5 in the first Splatoon. Participating on turf war maps feels smoother than before. The updated netcode ensures that disconnections happen less often, with the actual back and forth being back in turf war matches. But at the end of the day, the basic principles of just playing a match are as good as they always were. In fact, it is better, as even in the dull moments, the game just oozes with character. Instead of a stationary lobby, you can walk around and test out the weapon you're currently holding. For battles, you will never really fall out of shape and are constantly encouraged to hone your skills. The functionality in the menus allow you to get to the fun quicker, which is something that the previous Splatoon games were never really great at. By entering the lobby and immediately pressing L, you're in the game and ready to jump in and collect some Ws, regardless if you do that alone or with your friends. During gameplay, things are a lot smoother as well. While traveling through the ink upwards, you can hold B and then let go to make larger than life jumps. You can also use this to spring between walls and travel a considerable distance. There are new weapons too, with the Stringer and Splatana giving new combative elements in both turf war and anarchy battles. We particularly like the Stringer, which operates very much like a bow. If you hold, your shots will explode, while jumping changes the shot into a vertical one. Small little wrinkles that add the overall flavor of the month. Anarchy battles, which is fitting to the chaos which is the inspiration for this game, is the new name for ranked mode. And this favorite mode is back, and it sees an equal amount of change. The main new wrinkle is that you can either play one match or 5 in a row, all depending on your appetite for carnage. The actual modes, that being Clam Blitz, Rainmaker, Tower Defense and Splat Zones, aren't different, and they're all still on a set rotation with 2 maps available at any given time. Despite the lack of new modes, there's one major addition that makes the whole setup a little strange. The rank points you earn elevates your standing across the board. This completely changes how rank battles are played, seeing that you wait strategically until your favorite mode pops up. This honestly makes the experience somewhat more messy. Obviously, we have to wait and see how this affects the game long term, but if it works like we think it does, well, we don't expect many players during Clam Blitz matches. What isn't as messy is the overall flow. During gameplay, there's an emphasis on the actual playing of the game. Statistics, rewards and changes happen after matches, so that there is a renewed focus on the here and now. At the same time, Splatoon 3 expands on the idea of giving players control. There are more clothing options, style choices, and more importantly, individual player customization. Just like Nintendo Switch Sports, there are tags and expressive text for Splatoon lovers to pick. And this game also shares something else with Nintendo Switch Sports, the AMD Super FSR upscaling resolution, which makes for instance the tiny lockers we make more visible and share your creativity with your friends and foes alike. The unlock system for all of this though is a little bit slow. In addition to your regular level ups, there is a catalog which you unlock many of these customization options. A bit tedious, but it keeps you coming back for more. After all, this is an online experience which you'll be playing for months and years to come. Once you're done with turfing or enabling chaos, you can work together in the returning Salmon Run. Salmon Run is very much like how it was before, though once again there are added wrinkles. You can more freely throw golden eggs and so finish up goals considerably quicker. Obviously, this uses quite a huge amount of your ink reserve, but that seems like a fair enough trade. There are new bosses or a larger variety of basic units that make every run a strong one. You might even get an additional round where a larger and more devilish looking salmonade can't wait to take you down. It is, as always, good fun, and even better, we can play it at any time, unlike what was the case in Splatoon 2. Last but not least, we have the brand new hero mode, or the single player campaign, known in this game as Return of the Mammalians. And once again we take control of an Agent 3, but the difference is, it is a new Agent 3, as the old one has now been promoted to the rank of Captain. Our new Agent 3 is tasked with exploring a world called Alterna, where absolutely crazy things are afoot. Fuzzy Octarians battle our brave new hero, but to what purpose? The twist starts very early on and don't lighten up as quickly as you might expect. It is a delicious last course that exceeds in every sense of the word. Most players will ultimately see where things are heading, as it is still rather predictable, but there's far much variety and diversity in this campaign compared to what was the case in the 2 prior games. And as such, we would do you a great disservice by spoiling any of it. In terms of gameplay, it meets halfway between the main campaigns and Octo expansion, which is rather fitting since a lot of people will play Return of the Mammalians. But compared to Splatoon 2's campaign, there are truly more open levels here and there, and the impact of Splatoon 2's DLC expansion can be more than felt. Most of the missions uphold a strict limited number of lives, checkpoints and available equipment. You will need to learn to cope with these restrictions and make the choices that work the best for you. While the game might want you to try out a certain weapon, you are smarter off sticking with a gut feeling. Some of these missions are surprisingly harsh and don't pull any punches. By finishing missions, you will earn eggs which can be used to remove fuzzy ooze, so you can carry on your journey. Most dedicated players might find there is a lot to unlock here with items for your locker, tickets to spend for battles, and the secret scrolls that unlock hidden data, information, and of course, lore. This and the regular gameplay beats result in an experience that is about 7 to 9 hours long, which is rather excellent in our book. From the start to end, you feel like you're taken for a ride that won't slow down for anybody. It easily blows the other main campaigns out of the water and is on par with the heights of Octo expansion, including its final act. You owe it to yourself to beat this campaign. Maybe not exactly complete it 100%, but at least beat it, even if it is just for the rewards at the end. That and the bosses. Oh my goodness, the bosses are incredible and such a step up from the previous games. From a presentation point of view, Splatoon 3 is fantastic. Just like Splatoon 2, it shines through on the Nintendo Switch. The usage of color is striking and makes for a presentation that is unmatched by most games on the platform. Even the backgrounds and worlds in hero mode are really impressive, as shouldn't be overlooked. The upscaling that we mentioned previously might have something to do with that. The music is equally good, with Deep Cut adding new tones to the extensive Splatoon music library. The new version of the original Splatoon's battle theme rocks hard, and the things heard during the Splatfest were equally as brilliant. In fact, it is still stuck in my brain. The story mode tunes are a bigger mixture overall, with calm and quiet music being switched around for banging boss music. Overall though, Splatoon 3 is great. It has some weird quirks, and if you don't like Splatoon before, this game will not really change your mind. What is here, however, is one of the cleanest and best upgrades that we have seen on the Nintendo system in recent memory. The moment-to-moment gameplay rocks, and the menus are a big step up from the previous installments. Some of the quirks are slightly off-putting now and again, but that doesn't stop this game from being an absolute win from top to bottom. There's a lot of fun to be had in Splatsville, Alterna, and additional places. With this in mind, our brutally honest score for Splatoon 3 is a 91 out of 100, since this is a true improvement. But there are a few things here and there, say like the missing at launch X-Rank content, along with some missed opportunities that keep the score away from the highest in the history of the channel. Or in other words, right below Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is still our highest ranked game in 2022, but above Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And that is our initial conclusion, which naturally will change as Splatoon has always been a game series where each installment gets better over the course of, say, the first 2 years from its release. So this is a game that will be even better in 2023 and 2024, something that cannot be said about most games released by Nintendo. Anyway, what do you think of Splatoon 3? Is it the biggest release of 2022, or do you think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are more important? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell to not miss our Splatoon timeline, upcoming Brutally Honest reviews in October, November, December, and obviously next year, and any of our Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Direct videos. Last but not least, a big thanks goes to all of you watching this review and to all our patreon.com/comearound patrons, and in particular, Raw producer Charles Shush. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.